So that part of it, I just thought we would look at a bit. Most of the stuff we've been kind of working on has been misogi. And how might that apply to what we just read? Well, Sensei talks a lot about how there are what's called defilements, but a lot of that is the clogging of our senses. The 5 obvious ones, and the 6th one he kind of calls mind, which can be translated, could be many words. Mind can represent many things. But mind is not something you see. You may see technology, which is a manifestation of a level of mind, but do you see mind? You might see a person's physical body, but you kind of see kind of the interior of them, the finer, more original of them. So that I thought was really interesting. So part of, I think, what we've been trying to say is you need some form of misogi. That is to clear out the, the word defilements is pretty strong, okay? But, we clog our senses. We live in kind of this interior dialogue, which is largely I, okay? Right. So as we kind of go back to a more original of ourselves, we begin to see the universe more as it is. And as we see the universe more as it is, we see ourselves more as we truly are. So we have a kind of a simpatico, a resonance. Each of us has a spirit. The universe has a spirit. It's designed as a spirit, therefore we can sync up, or that's I think what he really meant by the term I-ki. And since we all come out of the universe, we're all potentially one very, very expansive harmony or family. So as we clear out I and go back more towards self, whatever you want to call it, spirit, soul, then we perceive the universe and we perceive ourselves increasingly in truer terms. So one of the things I thought we would start with a little bit is if the universe is a design, okay? Universe is a design, okay? Just working with Nado Sensei. 3, as far as I can tell, the 3 major things that our sensei passed on to them. 1, fire, water, steam. 2, center, circle, hum, vibration. 3, the Su chant. Now we've gone through a bunch of them. There's more than that actually. But those are, I think, the 3 major things. So I thought today we might start a little bit with fire and water. And then, depending on the time, we might go to center, circle, okay? Now, in terms of Nado Sensei and myself, he's a fire-water person, fire-water steam. I'm very, very much the center circle person. Okay, so fire, water. Let's just start this way. Put your hands this way. And we've done this before. There's kind of a vibration, feeling of a current or a field between the hands. Now take one hand away. There's a buzz or a flow feel in that hand, but I don't have the feel for the current. Now let's put the hands together. Now let's take the hand that was left before away. And again, I get a kind of buzz current there, but I don't feel magnetism. So we really have a pair to create the field. Okay, so fire by itself has its own thing. Water by itself has its own thing. But fire and water produce something. So within just the hands. And so here you kind of utilize, how shall I put it? You utilize the imagination, but it's imagined field. Fire, up, down. Water, down, up. Now, if the fire dominates, it burns the water off. The water dominates, it extinguishes the fire. So just like your right and your left produce something that is different than just the right or the left. And Nado Sensei likes steam. So initially, we're working kind of a thought experiment, as Einstein might put it. Fire, up, down. Water, down, up. Just like the hands, they are in balance. They produce something. Nado Sensei likes steam. They're equal. One taking over dominates the other. Water again puts the fire out. Fire burns off the water. Steam, two equal force. Initially, I might get that sense I'm going to burn myself because steam is hot, but increasingly the eye gets easier, but the steam can't burn itself. Steam is not hot to itself. And just going to. So that's a little different. I don't think we've done the fire, water, steam. No sensei, that's like his absolute favorite. It might have been O-sensei's favorite. I'm not sure. I think O-sensei had a lot of favorites. But anybody with a question, statement, observation, what's it like kind of getting those in balance? Does steam do anything for you? Anybody? Okay, you don't have to say anything. Some of this stuff can get very esoteric, so to speak. Fire, water, basically is alchemy. Okay? Thesis. senses contaminated. Okay. I have a funny taste in my mouth about the world. All I see is what's going on out there. See no evil is hard enough, right? Right? Hear no evil is really hard. Speak no, that's pretty hard. That's mouth, okay? Taste. Things have a funny taste. Skins feel, okay? But you might have a lot of things under your skin. And that keeps me in a very, very, can be very toxic level of I. Okay? And I'm much more than a physical body. But the physical body is kind of where I reside. Now, the steam is a cleanser. And one of the things that the steam can do is sort of cleanse. The defilements of the eye. So, for example, if I kind of do the fire water, now the fire water is a vertical. Fire, water. Water also can go that way. Fire comes in balance, there's steam. Here I am just sitting here. What do I notice?
I have a question, Sensei.
Sure, yeah.
So my health diagnosis in Chinese medicine is excessive fire. And
Yeah.
we did a lot of fire building exercises in my youth. And this is a wonderful balancing one. Do you have a way of putting more water into the energy field? Or what would you suggest to do that?
Well, the fire water is a balancing practice. You can work a water dimension. You can work a fire dimension. You can work an air wind dimension. You can work a ground dimension. But the fire water represents, see, it's just the center circle. Fire water, Izanagi, Izanami, Susano, Amaterasu. Not gender speaking, but masculine, feminine, light, dark. Okay, so if you want to just work water, you can work water. But it's almost like, I've got a right hand, and I'm getting a really good extension. I can visualize it going way out there into space. And that's good. The second I put this here, they generate something which is different than, now the left feels great. It extends way out there. Boom, 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 boom. So I put the right out. I can work right, I can work left. But when I put both together, it generates something else. Okay? So within that, we're using, if you want to use water, like for example, a lot of the depth work, deep, deeper, deeper, has kind of a watery feeling to it. Okay? Cooler. All right? But here, we're introducing fire to water. And conversely, I'm an energetic person and I go, 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 go. Then all of a sudden there's downtime. That's water trying to get my attention. So the balance of fire, water, you need fire, you need water. But what we're really working with it is the balance of fire, water. And one way of kind of seeing that is steam. Okay? So, yeah, so
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's it. You can work. There's nothing wrong with water. You can work a water dimension, okay? But what happens a little bit is you introduce the opposite. See, if it's just water, water's pretty cool. If it's just fire, some people, that's their quality. It's like boom, If you're going to be a bouncer at a bar, you probably have a lot of fire. But what happens is these days, there's an overabundance of fire. You know, we see all the protests, you know, going on. Yes. You know, essentially said fire is the law, but the law can get out of balance in human terms. Okay? And if you fight fire with fire, you might become something you don't want. You might become something you hate. So the thing is, how without, okay, now I'm going to be water and extinguish the fire. Well, maybe you need to do that if your house is on fire. But these are more interior states. So I can get water, fire, and balance. I get steam. Okay?
Yes,
Now,
thank you.
yeah, see what happens a little bit right there is my physical body has all these eye memories and all these emotions. Okay? And they just keep me tied to, you know, this interior dialogue. And every time I go up here, it really makes the emotions in my body kind of stronger. Okay? In fact, it's a room. It's how we feel in social isolation. We want to get out, don't we? We want to go to the dojo and train, yeah. All right, I want to go to the Y and shoot hoops, whatever, but I can't. Y is closed now. So, water. See, it doesn't almost matter because the water descends eventually, the fire ascends. But I start out usually fire, up, water, fire, up, down, water, down, up. And then they, you know, there's a, well, since they talked about the friction of fire, water, he's talking about the balance of it. So there's steam. What I kind of notice is there's blockages in my body. I'm holding stuff here. You know, I don't like the government right now, and but easy right. And I hold a lot of judgments as I. The steam can clear that out. So the steam, once I, it takes me to a more non-judgmental place. In fact, you know, there might be so many dark clouds around me that I steam it, all of a sudden some light starts to come out. Let's try that. Let's try the fire, water, steam, and see what might happen for you. Like for me, I don't know that, but all the stuff I'm carrying with all this dialogue is like dark clouds. And all of a sudden the steam comes in with the balance of fire, water, which is the friction of fire on water, water on fire, the steam. So just be there for a second. We'll get up and move in just a couple of minutes. Kind of begin to get is light, but it's not the light that's out there. It's something that's coming from in here, going out. Of course, there's light out there, but and that can't come out when all these clouds are around me. So the fire water kind of acts sometimes to really be a cleanser. Okay, my body feels like shoulder more open. Anybody? Anybody same, different? So that's a big step. Steam. Okay, anyway, let's go to the other room. We'll start some movement. Okay, so we put this here. Oh, I was going to change the sheet. We got a really nicer color of gray, but As usual, I got occupied with some stuff and I forgot to do it. So, but we'll go here. Okay. I'm going to start out with a staff. Okay. And we're working, or I was working, the fire water. Is kind of up down. Okay. For example, here. Thumb down from the top, thumb up from the bottom. Fire, water, fire, water. So I call these spins fire water changes for that reason. Okay. Thumb down from the top, thumb up from the bottom. Okay, and we get the figure eight. All of a sudden, up from the bottom, down from the top, figure eight. Up from the bottom, down from the top, figure eight. Down from the top, up from the bottom. So you can actually go either way with figure eight without stopping the figure eight. So from where you are, just begin to work the fire water changes. You can see why now I call it the fire water change. Anybody anybody clearer about the changes? See right here, when you're figurating, you can change thumb up from the bottom, or you can change thumb down from the top. All right? What I call these fire water changes. Fire water. Okay? Anybody on the changes? That's why, was one reason we do them. Okay? Anybody? I think a lot of sensei's ritual with the staff. See, right here, just by holding the staff here, you're establishing some form, fire down, water up. See, when that steam starts to come, it starts to cleanse the attachments the eye has through the sensors. Cleans them out. After you've taken a nice shower, you probably feel cleaner. That's a lot what the steam is about. As I continue the steam, I get things like warmth or heat and light. And they're more interior, as opposed to, initially the steam is out there, but as you start to kind of align fire, water, water, fire, start to become more interior. So a lot of senseis okay. Anybody on the fire water changes?
I have one question back to the
Sure.
inhale
Yeah.
fire, exhale water. Are you unconsciously doing that at the same time still also with those?
Could you repeat that once more? You got you kind of went garbled as you start to talk, and that's one of the problems with Zoom.
Sorry, I'm not
Okay.
sure about my microphone here.
Okay.
Yeah, inhale fire, exhale water. Are you unconsciously doing that at the same time we're doing this? Or is it-
Let's see. You can do that as a practice. All right. Now, essentially, as I remember, we did a class on that. Fire, inhale, square, water, exhale, circle. Yeah, you could do that. But watch out for this. I'm thinking so much about what I'm doing. I'm not in the direct experience of it. So let me use fire in, square, water out, circle. We're still interested in that third thing that happens when the fire and the water start to, you can use the up down, that's another one. You can use the imagery of a square circle. Okay? So that works too. But let's say the square circle, the circle, square, 4 triangles within the circle. I get the point. Second I get the point, I get the steam. I get the steam. I kind of get the warmth light. And this is something, if you memorize it, you can try it. We all go, oh yeah, I'll try that, see if it happens for me. And then maybe you follow my lead. But ultimately, you kind of want to get your own experiential chain. Okay? Anybody else with the fire, water, steam? Okay. Now, let's see, we go here. Okay. Now, let's just say I'm doing some movements. Yeah, we're just working more, the freer. Boom, 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 boom. Whoops. Okay. So what happens, I do a couple of moves. Feels fluid. Well, the changes are natural. So I do the fire, water. Do the steam. So what I'm really doing is just saying, okay, the amount of I attached to those movements. And we kind of go boom, 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 boom. I can feel things opening up. I'm opening up. See, I can be back here and kind of doodly around, having a lot of fun, but being kind of shy. All of a sudden, the steam. Steam. And all of a sudden, boom, the movement starts to boom, start to. Yeah. So try that. Just try the steam. Try some moves. See what comes. And we'll kind of check in just in a minute or so. But move, see what you. Okay. Okay. Anybody notice anything off the steam? Something maybe you have to be with for a little bit. Okay. Anybody?
Since I'm still working on it, but with the steam as the point of, I guess, focus, non-focus, as I'm transitioning it, it almost helps me feel out where the balance point should be. So when I know I'm not on balance, I can try to keep moving to find that balance. So it's, for me, a good point of focus.
Kind of what I might state it differently. There's a difference between I'm finding the balance, and as you're moving, that balance happening a bit more for you. Okay. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And so as we see, I'm finding my balance. That's good. But if I'm steaming and steaming and steaming, I'm sort of clearing that eye out a little bit. So the balance can sort of kind of move through more freely. So instead of I'm finding the balance is increasing, just something that's there because you're there kind of in that easier, more fuller sense of what I is when it's moving towards self. That's the way I would phrase it. Okay?
Thank you.
So yeah, you'll get the point where you start to, oh, I'm getting this. Good. Now, steam a little bit more, boom, and everything starts to open up even more. Okay? Okay, anybody else?
So,
with the
Sensei,
steam? Yes.
Audrey, I'm working with a visual that's more clouds rolling in off the ocean based.
Okay.
Kind of get it a little bit cooler. Because whenever I think steam, it builds heat in me.
Builds what?
Heat.
Heat?
Yeah, I get a lot of heat when I visualize steam.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's see, I'm diabetic, right? And so when I first started doing the fire, water, steam with Nado Sensei, because that's his favorite, okay? He likes that a lot. My blood sugar would go up. I go, I don't like that. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, basically what the sugar is, it heats the blood up because it makes the system more toxic. Excessive sugar creates heat in the body. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, but what's kind of interesting about that is what started to happen was that as I hung with it, like you get the image of the clouds, right? Right? You have the cloud image. What does the cloud come out?
Yes.
It comes out of water and sun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The sun is,
I was visualizing the friction between the ocean and a warm front.
well, the same thing. You have heat and you have something. You have heat and water. So, the term steam, I would put it this way. It's very much a warrior use of it. Okay? Now, those Sensei loves it. With me, I do it, when we're working it together. I do other things when we're not. I just thought we might introduce it. So for you, the cloud, the warm front, may be that point where fire, water are in balance. Okay, I would say if the heat right now of the steam is bothering you, stay with what you're doing. You don't have to do what the teacher's doing. For me right now, the actual steam doesn't do what it used to do. I just got a little easier with it. But what you're doing right now is fine. Okay? You're getting a
Yeah.
balance between the warmth or the heat or the fire and the water. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Did anybody notice their movement shifted at all?
I noticed after you gave the advice of, I'm gonna word it, of letting the balance find its way. I was playing with that as you were speaking, and it felt more natural. So I did notice that my body was adjusting to it, the balance better.
Well, anything that's really itself is true to itself. So, for example, I'm struggling with a balance, but maybe there's a quality or something here that's trying to come through, and I'm trying to find it. And if I can get, the steam is one way of kind of cleansing that out. Boom, 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 boom. See, the steam doesn't have to burn, it can expand. And then boom, 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 boom. And the movement becomes freer. Yeah, I struggle with that sort of heat. The warrior archetype is fire, water, steam. The hotter the steam, the better. Okay. No, I think that was one of Sensei's major things. Okay. What we could do, because this is actually, if I had a choice, okay, I would choose this one, which is center, the circle, circle to center. So just like the fire, water, when they're in balance, center or center, circle, in balance. You get a vibration. I think a lot of times when Sensei was kind of like this in the pictures and he's chanting Su or something, there was a center, there was a circle. And of the two, this is by far my favorite. Center circle, okay? But over a period of time, 10 years or more, I've come to appreciate fire, water, okay? Establish the center. Can be here, can be here. Around that center is a circle. There's the center to the circle. There's also the circle back to the center. It's almost like the center starts to talk to the circle starts to talk back. There's kind of a vibration. Boom. We talked earlier about the resonance of. This is why it's my favorite. I'm much freer. This is just me with the center circle, vibration hum. And with that field of your, you have movement. within that field. Boom, boom, boom. Oh. I kind of get the feeling a little bit, for example, you have a series of chimes, right? And you're going to go boom, and boom, you generated up a sound. Then you go boom, you get that in reverse. Boom, 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 boom. You go this way, boom. You're also rustling the chimes and rustling them back. And you can go that way, that way. So all your movements, whenever you move, another way of saying when you're moving, you're creating winds, and there are wind chimes. Whatever movements you're doing, it's kind of creating some music. Whatever movements, boom, you're creating some sounds. Boom, boom. So when you're doing a movement like that, you're activating the chimes. Huh? Doing a movement like that. Whoa. Now, spirals. Anybody, see, I like the center circle much better than I do the fire, water, steam. Anybody? Center circle, vibration, hum. Okay, yeah, I mean, I tend to attract people that are much more center circle than fire, water, steam. The fire, water, steam people generally hang out with Nadeau Sensei. All right, not that I, as I said, I've learned to appreciate the fire, water, steam. Okay, they get you to a very similar place. Okay, the same, you look at the same jewel, but from a different, you see a different facet of it. Anybody with an observation or question on that one?
I just felt I felt cleansing flow, or the center and the steam just cleaning out. So I felt positive effects from it.
Well, they're both good. In fact, I think our sensei told Nadeau Sensei, because there's several of his patterns. He says, you'll have your favorite, but you have a facility with the different ones. Okay? Have a facility with the different ones. All right. Now, one of the things, for example, in terms of like the chimes and the resonances, everything that's in here. Well, Sensei talked in the section we read about the grand design of creation, which is in fact for many versions of it. Therefore, you can go both ways. All of a sudden, you're activating the chimes out there. But it's like tuning forks. You're also starting to activate the chimes inside you. Boom, boom. That's just outside, but it's like boom. Starting to feel an awakening inside. So that the chimes and this motion are activating both the design outside and the interior design. Boom, 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 boom. If I check back, for example, on I, it's a much more expansive, much more accepting place. And I think a lot of what Osensi meant by misogi is, we get so caught up, our senses get clogged up, and we get caught up in all these judgments and all this stress, that if you all of a sudden, boom, work the center circle, kind of get to the hum vibration, boom, 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 boom. You check. You don't do this to escape what's bad out there, but when you're too mired in it, you kind of twist yourself. I know how I'm going to vote, for example, assuming there is an election, but we do what we can, responsibly in the world as best we can. But there's a much more positive sense of being that I'm finding when, I do this as kind of a misogi. So as I kind of use either the steam or the sound hum, all of a sudden the I goes from I to more of a self, more transparent, more open, right? More boom boom in rhythm time with whatever's going on. Okay, anybody else with a question or an observation? I kind of didn't mean to do this one, but the third thing I mentioned, because those are, as far as I can tell, Sensei kind of, passed on three major things to Robert Nadeau. One is the fire water, two is the center circle, and the last one, which we've done, is the Su chant. Okay? So, okay, so we're going to do that with some motion. Okay, I got my left hand here on my hara area. Su. Left hand here goes to U. Su, U. And you can go rightward or leftward, but you hit both. Ah. You can go one way or the other. Oh. Back to ooh. It's a rightward spiral, counterclockwise. A. E. Back to ground zero. Su. Ooh. Ah. Oh. Ooh. E. Now, what I want you to do, try that a couple times by yourself. If you feel subconscious, mute, okay? In fact, you can just do it interior. We don't have to even make a physical sound with it. But just see if you can get that pattern of motion down. Then we'll do it as a group, okay? So spend a minute or two. Okay. Anybody with a question or problem on that sequence, either with the syllables or the order of the physical movements? Anybody? Okay. Now we're going to do this both with the sound and with just, sound and motion. And then we'll do an interior sound. Okay? But we're going to start out with a physical sound. So take a deep breath. Now try it a couple times with the motion and an interior, not a vocal flies, but an interior sound. Okay, questions, observation? We've done that pattern before, but that's, you don't need to do the movements with the staff. You can do just the Sioux chant by yourself without that. But I think the motion helps. Okay, anybody with a question or observation? Anybody? Okay. How do you feel after having done that? Is there any shift in your perception of yourself or what's going on around you?
More at peace.
Okay. Yeah. Why do something that makes you more agitated? Makes you more out of control or more depressed? Yeah. Because a lot of that is misogi. We tend sometimes, in one of the early Castaneda books, Carlos tells Don Juan he feels like a leaf at the mercy of the wind. And Don Juan said, well, that's why I'm teaching you to be a warrior, not a fighter, by the way. A warrior is he or she who's on the path of knowledge. And to do that, to confront the lessons, to become a man or a woman of knowledge, you need to have a warrior spirit. Okay? So, okay. Anybody else on this one? David, is this easier for you because it's motion?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
When we were starting with the fire water,
Yeah.
my whole body was vibrating. And I didn't try to make it vibrate or stop vibrating, but it's just as we were doing that, my whole body was just like vibrating, physically moving.
Yeah, okay.
And as soon as we stood up, it's like everything just went quiet and calm. I had lots of physical energy, but but when we were sitting still, it's like there were tremors going through my body.
Well, a lot of that too, and I'm not, this is maybe a generalization, is that we sometimes are carrying a lot of stuff in that interior dialogue. Okay? And the fire, water, steaming brings up a lot of energy. Okay? Now, when you start to stand and move, you're probably dealing with that energy a little easier in motion. That's just your style. Okay? Not everybody wants to sit. All right? I remember when I first got to Japan, I've been used to a lot of meditation here in the States. And then all of a sudden in Japan, if I didn't move, I got hit. I went, oh, it was quite a shift, right? It was like, wow, okay. My first class in the down south area, the first thing I remember is this guy punching me in the face, on Irimi Nage. I was like, does he want to fight or something? I asked Mary that. I said, no, that's not it. I said, I'm supposed to just take that? She said, well, for now, yes. I went, it doesn't make any sense. She said, it doesn't. It will later. And later, what it was, yeah, he didn't really have to do that. But I was just standing there, and he says, if you just stand there that way, you're not in motion with it. So you're going to collide with things. And with him, there was always that little bit of personal in the collision, which some of us didn't particularly care for. But yeah, you did. Okay. It's your
Sometimes
dojo.
I've been that guy.
What?
Sometimes I've been that guy.
Yeah, I know. We tend to do that. That's one of the purposes of the fire, water, steam. Because if you're overly fire, you wind up being the guy that's overly personal, right? And I just remember that guy, that my first class in that area was with that guy. And I thought, because he just, he gave me a bloody nose and just absolutely terrorized me, right? He was about 4'10", but he was about 4'10" by 4'10", one of those, And Mary respected him, so she took me there, and I got beaten up, but but that's when fire dominates the water. And the next day, we show up for a private lesson with Ano Sensei. I thought, I never worked with Ano Sensei. And Ano Sensei was water, welcoming, nurturing water. And I went, wow, okay. But Ano Sensei has fire if he needs it, right? His outwardly is much more water, but he has fire. The other guy, as far as I know, is still being dominated by fire. If you give into the fire, you stay with it, So anyway, that was interesting. Anybody else with an observation or question? Let's just do a couple more, then we'll go back into. Right. Okay, so let's do that sequence together. those moves can be choreographed a variety of different ways, but that's kind of the way that I fit them to the Sioux chant. Anyway, we are now. So if you came in late, we're going to go back to the passages from O-Sensei that I read. Okay? Put on my Clark Kent glasses, my disguise here. I-Ki is activated by the cosmic resonance of the spirit of the universe's grand design. Utilize the cosmic resonance to generate unlimited power, to discern the universe, to return to the heart of the universe, to become the universe. Evolve in cooperation with the universe. The grand design of the universe exists within you and shapes your form, your true form. The cosmic resonance of the spirit of the universe enables you to unify mind and body. By extension, that spirit can bring the heart of all people of the world together. It can give the world peace and unity, not war and contention. We need peace and harmony. We need I-Ki. Those who strive to bring peace and unity to the world are true human beings, hoping to perfect human nature through I-Ki. It is important to always foster qualities of energy, wisdom, virtue, and health. Okay. So there's two paragraphs. The first one, he's talking about the grand design of the universe. And then he's talking about the cosmic spirit of the grand design of the universe. And then he's talking about that design being inside us. And he uses the term I-Ki as opposed to Aikido, because I think they're pretty much the same, but we say Aikido, we may see it as a physical practice and technique, whereas I-Ki is that, but he's emphasizing the I-Ki. Now, there's obviously the Do. As we train, we're doing the various moves. But fire, water addresses kind of like the materials, fire, water. Eventually I become this body. But I'm more than that. But I acquire all these habits of thinking with my senses kind of clogged up, just seeing myself this way. And I'm stuck. Okay? You know, way before the coronavirus, we're all kind of caught in what we might call universal isolation. We're isolated from the universe in an I here. And so the steam is kind of cleanse the senses. So I begin to kind of see, mind being one of them, that the universe exists in a variety of different levels. Each of those levels has a vibe to it. And this level of I creates, to some degree, the world around us. There's a lot of discord in it. As the steam cleans the senses, it starts to clean the I, taking it more towards the self. The self is clear, therefore there's a design to creation. Fire, water represents kind of the energies that form the physical universe. And of course, we come out of that. We're biological, but we come out of the universe. And then the self, as I, incorporates that body and acquires a kind of, the senses create this dialogue. Everybody thinks the same thoughts, okay? So as we clear the I out with the steam, what happens is that, the design of things, there's a balance. Fire and water don't have to destroy each other. They can create together, not fight. And you go back to the more original of it, what happens is the I goes more towards itself, true self. And all of a sudden the materials acquire this, there's light. There's positive heat that doesn't burn. There's power that doesn't have to dominate or win. And there's warmth. So the I goes more to itself as the steam cleanses the body, and the body exists at a variety of different levels. So the I kind of follows that. The center circle, which I tend to prefer, it's just me. For me, it gets into the vibrational nature of things more quickly. So, the outer universe becomes like a series of chimes, each of them with their own note. So and we have all that inside. So if we get in touch with this, it activates. It's corresponding, like two tuning forks. See, this sort of motion may activate a series of chimes out there, but then it starts to kind of activate that inside. And likewise, if I start to, how do I activate the stuff inside? I do it with breath. Now, as they start to tinkle, the ones out there start to tinkle. So you get a resonance. And when I'm in that state, as a person, I'm a lot warmer, a lot more inclusive, a lot more wanting to establish connections. So both the fire, water, and the center circle, they both work at getting the I to a better place with itself. The fire, water does it by cleaning. The center circle gets it by tuning up. Okay? If you have an orchestra and you're supposed to play, but you're out of tune with your instrument, you got to get in tune. And the center goes to circle, circle goes back to center. That's the tuning of the instrument. So both of them go towards the I, going back more towards itself. Therefore, what happens out there is the design of creation. The building blocks of creation are various energies, each of them with its own sort of vibrational frequency. And you notice, for example, that both the fire, water, and the center circle are coordinated through breath. In breath, fire square. Out breath, circle. In breath, square. Out breath, circle, expand. As you start to get the expansion, you get sound. Sound goes out, expands first, and then it goes out circling. So both systems, fire, water, and center circle, they both work together. Okay. The Su. You don't really need to do the sounds outwardly, although it's good to try, because I'm too mental thinking and I go, Su. That also is important. Su is creation. So it's energy going back, going out fire, coming back water, or going out water, coming back fire. And it can spiral out, spiral in. Okay? And there's U, which is self. So that works the same thing, slightly different. All right. I mean, they're all three, as far as I can tell. You know, I talked to Nado Sensei. Those are the three major things. He took away from Mo Sensei that he could come back here and practice. Now, for all three, you kind of need what I call the dimension in yourself of imagine, feel. Not just imaginary, but imagine, feel. Okay? So, anybody want to, I'm going to split in just a second or two, but any observations, David? Any comparison between the different, the different methods or?
I still feel like I'm someone who can barely figure out which keys to press being asked to explain chord progressions. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, actually, what it really amounts to is you don't necessarily want those to make sense. Okay? It's just, for example, if you do the fire water, you got the steam. Steam's going to take you somewhere. You do the center circle, it's going to take you somewhere. You do the Su chant, it's going to take you somewhere. It's more important that it take you somewhere than you understand where it took you, because it's more of a feel. Like if you're sitting, we're doing that, and you feel like you're shaking, it takes you to a place where there's a lot of energy. So maybe in your case, you ought to move with it. On the other hand, I give the story of being with Hikizuchi Sensei, and everybody else is training up a storm, having just good training partners. All the major teachers are there, and I get called into his office, and I get to sit with him and inhale cigarette smoke. And I'm going nuts. You see what I mean? So there's an area where, okay, now deal with this. I know it's hard, but there's a lot of sensei's ki around me, and probably more in here than it is out in the mat. So where do you want to be? at the time, I thought the whole thing really sucked. To be honest with you, that was my eye. Well, screw this, you know. Why do I want to hang out with a weird guy who smokes in a confined office when, you know, everybody's doing really great stuff out there? And then at some point, years later, I realized it was, you know, yeah, there was something there I was missing, okay? I didn't go to Japan just to hang out in a closed room with a weird person smoking cigarettes. But there was a sense right there where there was a lesson. So, you know, yeah, I would much rather have been out there learning. But I'll tell you, I remember that class vividly, precisely, because I wasn't out there training and having all that fun. I was in the office inhaling smoke. Maybe he was trying to teach me about steam, smoke, right? I mean, I have no idea. I didn't get the lesson then. Okay, anybody else? Cliff, anything? Nope.
I was just thinking maybe cigarette smoke is fire and steam, right? Because it's
No, I think cigarette smoke is pollution.
and tobacco. No, I'm gonna have to. I had a lot of interruptions in this
Yeah, it's okay.
this class. It was the kids wanted milk,
Yeah.
lunch, and there was a spectacular milk spill in the middle of it.
Oh,
by one
yeah.
kid. So what I'm going to have to hope for is that you're able to get it online before Wednesday's class, and I have time to review it before Wednesday's
Okay.
class.
Yeah, well, yeah, I just thought
They were just, you know, you're talking about awareness of the world, and I was very aware of the world throughout this.
Now, those things they call some travel vehicles, you know, because here I am in an eye, and there's a universe. The grand design of the universe is based on the multidimensional nature of it. Okay, and also one of my favorite Einstein quotes: "The universe is multidimensional, as are we." That's one of my favorite Einstein quotes. So there are levels of I as I goes towards self. There are also levels of I as self goes into I. It goes both ways. So as the stuff of creation or the dimension you are in, you also, as an I, move with it, this travel vehicle, okay? Sometimes in basketball, you put somebody who's not all that highly regarded and you put them in a different team and they're really great. They surprise you. You know, because all of a sudden it's like, and all of a sudden you're with Stephen Curry in the locker room and all of a sudden you go, wow, this is a championship team here. And all of a sudden your energy starts to align to that. And it changes people. All right. I mean, you know, basically, I think what Osensei kind of wanted, he put this field out called Aiki. And it had certain things. I mean, it's not just one thing, it's really energies in harmony with them. But those energies are in us. And so as we harmonize, you know, with a technique, fire, water, or center circle, or Ikkyo, Yurimi Nage, whatever it is, then what happens is there's an interior balance that starts to happen. As that interior balance goes, you've got the chimes in here going, well, they touch the chimes out there once you do that. And then all of a sudden, there's a conversation, a mutual resonance that is established. And everybody on the planet comes out of that. So I think on some level, since they were saying, you know, we all have the potential to be one universal family. And one of the things that you'll find is that you're still you. We're not going to, you know, that what was it, that one race in Star Trek, The Next Generation, the Borg? We are in the collective. It's not that way. It's like you get to even be more you. What you find with, you know, I told the Warriors when they were doing great stuff. And it's amazing that most of the players that came on, that all of a sudden, when they hit that championship locker room, and they were on Stephen Curry, they got better. And then, you know, they go off and they make money because somebody pays them, you know, because they all of a sudden showed they were much better than everybody thought they were. Or they stay and re-sign up. But, you know, there's growth, right? And so environment shapes you. But then after a bit in here, you start vibing. You wake up this interior design of you. There's an effect out there. So, you know, that's one of those things. Anybody else with a question or a comment? Okay, and I think what we'll do is we will call it for today. So what I'm going to do is leave the meeting. David, do you want to take it over if you want or not? I'm just going to leave the meeting right now. So thank you all for tuning in today.
Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Never give up.
Never surrender.
Never surrender.
It is specifically, I also got it as a mug. It was specifically when Trump was elected, the Obama poster colors on the Galaxy Quest ship.
Yeah.
So instead of hope, it says never give up, never surrender, which was the message. I got the shirt and the mug at the same time as the message I gave myself when Trump was elected. And so,
Yeah, the universe worked for me when that happened. I was still in the Navy and I suddenly was forced out of the Navy just because I didn't get promoted. So I had to leave the Navy just when he became president. Very grateful for that.
wow. Yeah, because he's one of those presidents who doesn't respect troops and just sends them willy-nilly wherever he wants.
When the truth isn't respected, things go downhill.
Yep.
All right.
Well, yep. We all watched, you know, that aircraft carrier. Okay.
Again, Dave, did you want to do anything or just want to call it a
Bye,
day?
everybody.
That's the answer. See you.
Thank you, David. Bye-bye.
Thank you.